Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Weekend 2 of the Battlefield 6 beta is here. And as you're jumping in, maybe you're trying to complete some of your challenges so you can get the exclusive beta rewards. Maybe you're just looking to try and play your best. I've got you guys covered today with the top 5 best weapons you want to be using. I do want to say outright initially, this is a beta. Your level progress, your weapon progress, things of that nature are not carrying over to full launch. So if you're just simply trying to do well for the sake of doing well, that's what you enjoy, then this is great. But with the beta, always go through, test out the weapons, see what works well for you, see if there's certain weapons that might not be even on this list that you still find enjoyable. So much is balanced across the board here that you can actually use a lot of different things and do really well with them. But there are a few weapons that through my playtime so far have really stood out. Now I have gone through and max leveled basically every single weapon in the game. I've been testing every single BF6 beta weapon thus far, and there are a few standouts that I really enjoy. For instance, the NVO 228E is a part of the assault class here. Feels phenomenal. This is a weapon that when you first pick it up, if you don't have it leveled whatsoever yet, you're gonna say, wow, this weapon feels terrible because it shakes side to side. It's got a lot of bounce, a lot of kick. The recoil is not ideal, but you go through and you level it up, and this thing becomes a powerhouse. It's got a fast TTK, really great damage, and it becomes much easier to use here. So as far as the overall setup here goes, I really do enjoy this 100 attachment point system. I do start with the double port brake. This is an advanced muzzle brake that reduces recoil. There are also some other really good ones here too, like the compensator brake. You can mess around with this. I feel like that'd be a pretty strong choice as well. I've sort of gone back and forth with some of these. The single port brake that does some recoil but increases sway, I'm not always a huge fan of. That's more of I'll throw it on as I'm leveling, but between the double port brake and then also the compensated brake, you really can't go wrong there. For the barrel here, I go for the 409mm standard. This is going to help out obviously with the aiming speed, makes it a little bit more aggressive, and it's also got the best velocity stat here. Like for instance, if you were to use the cut barrel, that's going to hurt your velocity. You don't necessarily want that down there since obviously it's going to impact the overall feel of the gun. For the underbarrel here, I go all in on the classic vertical. Like I said, this is a gun that's got a decent bit of recoil, and this does such a huge help when it comes to like mitigating that and really lessening the bounce and kick of this gun. Maximum recoil control. It does come at the cost of handling when aiming, which is not a huge deal considering your ADS, you're pretty much trying to stand still to maintain accuracy there to begin with, so you're all set there. That thing is going to be a huge helping hand. I just go for the 30 round extended mag. It works fine in this rate of fire with this setup here. If you've got some extra points because you're changing up some things based on your preference and playstyle, you could try and upgrade to the 40. It's never a bad thing to have that extra safety net, but 30 was sufficient for me in my gameplay so far. Soft point is huge. I'm using this ammo basically wherever I can because it's going to give you an increased headshot multiplier. So if you're accurate, if you hit those headshots, the TTK is going to be even faster. This is such a huge element of my gameplay and my setup so far. I'm pretty much spamming this where necessary or where available really, because it just feels so good and so rewarding for accuracy there. If you are good at aiming in this game and you can aim to the upper body consistently, you're just gonna melt. And then lastly here, I do go for an optic. I personally like the 2.5 times prism here. This is a matter of preference. These obviously all cost the same, so except for of course the LPVO here. But as far as optics go, if there's one that you like more, maybe you like the 1.25 a little bit more than the 2.5 times, go for that, switch that out. That's totally preference at the end of the day. But the NVO is an absolute powerhouse in the beta so far. To pair this with my general assault loadout, I am rocking the P18 as the secondary. Really haven't changed this up at all because I'm not using it that much. Still rocking just the base ammo on there. I do use the 17 round extended mag. You could upgrade to the 21 though if you got it unlocked. They're never gonna hurt really. Then I just go for the factory barrel on here as well. Like I said, really haven't changed up the P18 too much because oftentimes when I'm running assault, I'm not switching to my pistol. I'm switching to the shotgun, the M87, which is absolutely nuts right now. This thing is confirmed to get a balance pass for the full launch of the game, so it's not going to be as dominant as it's been during the beta. But what's awesome about this is that you don't really even have to level this thing up. With the default setup it comes with right away, you're pretty much set. Now you can upgrade it where you see fit, but you don't necessarily have to. Like for instance, I don't run the suppressor. You could if you wanted to though, if you got the attachment points and that's something you're interested in, not a bad thing by any means. I leave the default and only barrel on here, that's staying the same. You could run it under barrel, but I don't really like the cost of aimed accuracy when moving or handling and whatnot when aiming and all that stuff. So I actually don't go for an under barrel here. I keep the base 7 shell tube on here. You can drop down to 5 and be a lot more agile and a lot more aggressive, but when I'm using this, I'm oftentimes pushing some pretty hectic choke points, and there's a lot of enemies I don't want to have to stop and reload. I also go for the base ammo. Slugs can be interesting. They do give you much better damage range, but it obviously requires you to be fully accurate there, whereas with the buckshot, you can kind of just be in their general vicinity, and it's still going to one-shot and feel super strong. I like the default iron sight as well, so I do keep that. I go ahead and I throw on the 5 milliwatt red laser on there just for fun to help out with some hip fire accuracy. But yeah, this thing is utterly nuts. And then to close out the rest of the setup, we of course have just the base gadgets on here, the explosive, the frag, the melee on there too. But yeah, main focus here being the NVO. This thing's a beast. Next up here, I've got the AK-205. This is kind of the inverse of the NVO as an assault rifle here. The NVO starts out as like this really bouncy, heavy recoil option, whereas the AK-205 is a laser beam throughout. This is one of the easiest guns to use in the entire game. So if you're coming into Battlefield for maybe the very first time, you're not super comfortable with some of the weapon behavior in this game, this is one of the more straightforward options that you'll be able to test out pretty early on, and it won't be too difficult to use. Even at some longer distances, you're able to stay on target really well, especially once you level up and have a full setup on here like this. We're maximizing all 100 attachment points here, starting first with just the flash hider, because why not? There is a suppressor, but it's also very expensive. You don't get many muzzle options on this gun in specific, but that's not a huge deal there. For the barrel, I do go for the 314 standard, helping out with that aiming speed some, and again, it's not going to be something that actually hurts the velocity by any means. None of them do. It's just a matter of which stat you're looking for the most, and the aiming speed is always beneficial to have increased where you can. I do go for the 6H64 vertical underbarrel. In this case, costs 25 points. Enhanced recoil control. There's some slight handling when aiming being reduced there. Not a huge deal though if you're stationary to begin with. For the extended mag here, I do go for the 40 round. A little bit of a faster fire rate here, just a nice added safety net, and of course you can spray and pray and pick up a couple of kills. The damage here is not going to be as crazy as like the NVO, which has a higher damage because it's more difficult to use. Lower recoil, lesser damage obviously is how they balance it out some, but with the 40 round mag you can still pick up plenty of kills, especially if you're landing some headshots, because I do also go for soft point ammo here as well, improving that headshot multiplier. I said why not? Might as well go for the improved mag catch here. It slightly improves the reload speed. Only cost 5 points. If you got them, you might as well spend them on there, right? And then again, optic is simply a matter of preference. I've messed around with the 3 times on here, felt pretty solid. If you like the 1.5 times more or a different one more, feel free to go ahead and change out for that. But yeah, this is, like I said, one of the easiest guns in the entire game, a really reliable rifle option here. And by the way, as we are going through all the weapons and setups here today, if you guys enjoy the video, you find the information helpful, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. It's always seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to stay up to date with everything going on in Battlefield, this is the place to be, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications and help get us one step closer to hitting 1 million subs. Next up, we've actually switched over to Engineer to help benefit us some with the SMGs, because the SGX maybe is the single best gun in this beta for what it is and for where it's the strongest. This thing as an SMG is insane. Up close, it's gonna melt, and you can even get some decently nice ranged kills with this thing as well once you upgrade it some by either tap firing or just being able to maintain accuracy on target. I got some surprisingly long distance kills for an SMG while using this thing. Real quick, the remainder of the setup, same P18 deal as before. Gadget 1, I go for the unguided. Gadget 2, I go for the surface to air launchers. This is a little bit overpowered, and there is a balance pass coming to this as well, but you are the ultimate support player here, ironically enough, as Engineer, helping out the vehicle warfare there, so you can take out anything airborne and anything on the ground, of course, as well. Frags and melee on there per usual. But with the SGX, first up here, I am going for the compensated break, reduces recoil and improves the remaining recoil as well. It is technically tied as the most expensive muzzle here, but definitely worth it. Makes this thing very easy to use. For the barrel, I go for the extended. This will actually help out with the velocity. You can see these other two drop that down some. This extends that out, so this is going to help maintain some versatility and give you some decent efficiency in the mid-range there, as the weapon's just going to feel a little bit better there. For the underbarrel, I go for the slim angled. You do get a better ADS speed, so that's solid, and slight recoil control. This is not a super difficult to use SMG. The recoil is not too noticeable, so only getting a slight benefit there as opposed to something that's more enhanced. With also the addition of some ADS speed, I think is a nice little win-win personally. For the magazine, I am going for the 36 round extended mag, just your basic extended mag here, costs 15 points. Always good to have that added safety net. Yet again, we've got soft point ammo increasing that headshot multiplier, so this thing's going to feel even stronger if you're able to land those headshots. Then I personally just go for the base iron sights. I think they're really clean here. If you got the points to spend, you could upgrade to a certain optic if you really like one in this case, but if the irons are clean and you might as well use them. If you've got 10 extra points left over and you really want to use a top accessory, you could do so for a laser sight. You could mess around elsewhere, maybe get a more expensive attachment in certain areas if you're looking to do so, like the underbarrels or something here if you wanted to. But the SGX in general just as an absolute melt machine. Now we jump over to Recon here because we've got to talk about our one and only sniper for this beta, the M2010 ESR. As it comes default with some of the attachments you get right away when you put this on a class, it's going to be a really good choice. You can just enhance it a little bit more as you're leveling it up, but you don't have to max level it by any means for it to be really efficient. Under my Recon class, real quick here, again, same P18 setup as before. Charge for the gadget one, obviously great for trying to level buildings and expose some enemies or take on tanks and various other vehicles. The deploy on there, frags, melees on here as well, with our main focus being the M2010 ESR. So satisfying to get some long range headshots with this thing tethered together, a double kill, a triple kill. Probably my favorite gun to use in terms of the satisfaction rate here, just because it's so rewarding to use and do well with. So I do use the flash hider outright first and foremost for my muzzle. It's only 10 points. The expensive suppressors are not really my go-to here. As you can see, would cost a little bit too much. I do go for the 26-inch carbon barrel on here, better velocity. That's obviously clutch for a sniper build here. Makes the bullet drop and bullet lead a little bit easier to predict. For the underbarrel, I went with the low profile stubby. Gives you a minor benefit to ADS speed, so just makes the gun a little bit more aggressive there. I do go for the 5-round magazine in this case. For the 8-round, 25 points just seems a little bit too expensive for what you're getting there. It's not like the reload's the worst thing in the world by any means. It's pretty quick, all things considered, so it's not a huge concern there. I do go for the base FMJ ammo. They're not changing anything up. The DLC bolt here is actually super convenient. You can rechamber while you're ADS, so you don't have to worry about going out of sight. You can stay on target the entire time. It's an expensive attachment, one that also is very valuable in my opinion. Optics, simply a matter of preference. I've been sticking with the 6 times here. I've messed around a little bit with like the 5 times and whatnot. If you like this more, again, feel free to change it up. It's the same cost at the end of the day. Then lastly, if you got the leftover attachment points, you could put on the rangefinder. I found a lot of the fights to begin with, I'm more comfortable with like the 100 meter zero, but if you're playing super back, a little bit more relaxed, trying to take on those very long choke points, you could absolutely use this to help zero in a little bit easier there, all things considered. But yeah, the M2010 ESR, it's our only sniper choice, and of course we had to talk about this since it's such a crucial and key play style for this game, but gets the job done. It's a ton of fun and it's really strong. And then lastly here, another weapon that I've been running under assault a lot so far this beta is the M417A2 carbine. This is one of the last weapons you end up unlocking, but it's also really good. Again, one that does take some getting used to because it does have a smaller magazine capacity. There's a bit of recoil as well, so it's a weapon that you have to learn a little bit, but it's also so dominant, so strong. Once you do level it up, once you do get some solid attachments on here, it's going to end up feeling really reliable. So here, first up, I am going once more for the flash hider. It's the only muzzle option here that's not a suppressor, and I don't find these to be all that impactful. Plus, they're also decently expensive as well. For my barrel here, I do go for the 16.5-inch rifle. Of course, these other barrels do a lot negatively for your velocity, and you don't want that considering you're using this in a lot of mid to long ranged fights. So the rifle barrel there obviously is going to be super important. I do go for the ribbed vertical in this case. The 6H64 would also be a solid choice. It's going to be 5 attachment points more, so if you're copying me 1-to-1, you'd be capping out by using the 6H64, but either or there, depending on your current attachment setup and how many points you have allotted to other situations. If you're changing up for your preference, these will both work just fine here. I do go for the 25-round magazine. That's the extended mag here. So the magazine capacity, as I mentioned, is a little bit more limited. You got to be more mindful. I do a lot of tap firing with this thing, and it makes it very accurate, and its power sort of speaks for itself, right? I also go for a soft point here. This is part of what makes this thing so strong. You get those headshots, and it just rips through enemies, even at some pretty impressive distances there. I had the attachment point, so I figured might as well go for the magwell flare. You can reload while aiming if you want. You don't ever have to take your sights off your target there. Once more, any optic you want to use, I had the 2 times on here, felt fine for me, but switch that up as you see fit, and that'll do it for this one. So across the board here with all these setups today, you've got some very, very fun choices. In general, there's so many fun weapons to use in this beta. And like I said, even though we're focusing on just 5 in this video for the sake of what's truly the best, there are so many guns that are practical and viable in many, many different situations here. It's far from being a limited thing where there is a definitive, hey, if you're not using this, you're losing, right? So test out all that you can, level things up, mess around. It's still just a beta at the end of the day. It's not that serious when it comes to having to use the best of the best in certain situations. But if you're looking to do well, maybe you want some extra help and some efficiency when completing your challenges, these weapons are certainly what I'd look to first here. That is going to wrap things up though. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.